here we are again with World Crisis Radio, reminding you to keep up with all this stuff, to get the in-depth, the conceptual framework to master and then influence world events. It can be done. Tarpley.net is the place to go. First of all, through the articles that are directly available there for free, and then the various books which I've contributed. If you want to follow Obama, you've got to have Obama, the Postmodern Coup. Looking more prophetic, if I do say so myself, more than 2 years now after publication. And then following up on that, Barack H. Obama, the unauthorized biography, all the stuff about Obama working for the CIA, Business International Corporation, all in there. And then surviving the cataclysm, to be a knowledgeable, sophisticated observer and influencer of the world financial crisis. You've got to have the background contained in the surviving the cataclysm. And it also does help you to survive individually, but survive for a purpose, survive to take political action and influence world events by acting on them. So, naturally, I've been calling for a ban on credit default swaps. You can look at that website. Look at Tarpley.net. Scroll down the page, flip to the previous page. You'll see it's full of ban credit default swaps, ban collateralized debt obligations, outlaw hedge funds. Do the elementary things to shut down this orgy of speculation, which is tearing down the financial system of the world, certainly. And then, of course, go beyond that. Seize the central bank, nationalize them, force them to issue 0% credit for great projects of national public works, national infrastructure, and public capital. And with that, you get an economic recovery, broad-based, rising standards of living. In other words, learn the lessons of the New Deal, refine them, modernize them, to be sure, exclude the blind alleys that the New Deal had. There's no question about it. But the New Deal, not the free market garbage, not the big lie, slave ideology concocted by these Austrian fakers, servants of ruling class privilege, paid for by reactionary Roosevelt-hating businessmen in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Interesting book called Invisible Hands. Get that book, Invisible Hands, the story of how the Austrian school was brought out of the wilderness of kookery and mockery where they belong and made presentable with the help of a whole bunch of reactionary business guys, starting with the DuPont family, who, of course, back in the 1930s were pro-Hitler. That's where it all comes from. And also remember that Ludwig von Mises was a supporter of Austrian clerical fascism back in the 1930s. He was for the corporate state in the specific Austrian form of Monsignor Seipel. Not good stuff, not a good pedigree. All right, so now we're back to the German measures, and this is the main contest going on in the world right now. Germany had banned naked credit default swaps on Eurozone bonds. They had banned naked shorts of the 10 largest financial insurance, reinsurance banks, investment houses in Germany. Now, Schäuble has now sent a draft bill to the Bundestag to increase the regulation on transactions which amplify the crisis, make it worse, avoid turbulence, avoid volatility. Here are the proposals. No naked shorts of any German stocks, meaning if the stock has its primary listing in Germany, then no naked shorts. You want to short it, you've got to own it. Makes it harder to short it. You've got to put up some money of your own. You can't sell it if you don't have it. A sensible rule. Even various CNBC talking heads can see this one. The German measures go on, the proposed ones now. No naked shorts of Euro government bonds. This adds to the ban on naked default swaps on those Eurozone bonds. No naked shorts of Eurozone government bonds. And thirdly, no naked shorts of the euro itself. You want to short the euro? Great. Buy it first. You've got to have it in your possession. Now, these are obviously not the measures that I would recommend. They fall far short of what I would recommend. But every one of them is a step in the right direction, and therefore it didn't take long for Tiny Tim Geithner, right? TurboTax Tim Geithner, the tax sheet, the feckless fraud, this mockery of a cabinet official. I don't know how he hangs on. I do know how he hangs on. He hangs on as a lightning rod for criticism and attacks that would otherwise go to Obama. It's very easy to attack Geithner. It's been pointed out this week that he's not a reassuring figure. Nobody takes heart. Nobody believes Geithner in any way because he's shifty. He's a featherweight and feckless, to be sure. So given the fact that Germany had taken these measures, primarily the ones to regulate and ban derivatives in order to make the world safe for derivatives and for the hedge funds that push them, and to try to head off the Tobin tax or financial transaction tax, trading tax, securities transfer tax, Robin Hood tax, Wall Street, City of London sales tax in Europe, Geithner undertook a world tour of sorts, a European tour at least, this past week. He had been in China with Hillary Clinton, keeping a very low profile. He was a very chastened little fellow in China, but when he got to Europe, he began pompously strutting and offering advice, the arrogance of impotence, I guess we can call it, not the arrogance of power anymore. That's long gone. It's now the arrogance of impotence. So he goes to meet George Osborne, the wealthy elitist from the British upper classes who now runs the Exchequer. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, the new guy in the new Tory Liberal Democrat alliance. And as we've heard on this program, George Osborne, dyed-in-the-wool activist of the Bilderberger group, rich elitist, world government fanatic, what have we. He also then meets Mervyn King, the head of the Bank of England, a very powerful and sinister force in his own right. He goes on to Frankfurt to meet Trichet, the head of the European Central Bank. He also meets with Axel Weber, W-E-B-E-R, the head of the Bundesbank, because there still, of course, is a German central bank separate from the European Central Bank, and then on to Berlin for a meeting with Schäuble. And some of these press accounts say that Geithner went to dress down Schäuble. Well, let's get real here. Geithner is a feckless featherweight. Schäuble, whatever you think about him, with his authoritarian tendencies, which come in handy here, a tough, experienced government official, and I think the inside word is that Geithner got his head handed to him in these meetings. He didn't get anywhere with Schäuble. We'll be back in just a minute.